Your reaction to the loss?
Frustrated. And if people didn't watch it, soccer's a tough one to box score judge or just, look at the score. 2-1-0. The U.S. had an early lead. Mexico scored with 15 minutes left. It was a close game. It was a close game in that the U.S. could have won and the U.S. had the lead early. It was not a close game in the way the game was played. The corners were 12-0 Mexico. The shots were 16-6 Mexico. The shots on goal were 8-3 Mexico. And the time of possession, which is your thing, you had the same thing. Sorry, Kate.
That's okay. 60-40. And when Josh gave me this graphic, I was shocked that we had the ball 40% of the time.
Right. And it felt the U.S., the turnovers are a tough stat in soccer, but interceptions, which is, basically taking the back end of a turnover. It's different in football and football.
Well, yeah.
But Mexico dominated them there as well. And listen, I understand that this is not the full team. And I understand that, there were some positives from this Gold Cup, most notably probably Diego Luna cemented himself on maybe even a starting spot, but certainly a real spot.
You thought that he played well yesterday?
No, I think in the tournament. I think there are some bright spots from when you had a 4-game losing streak going into it, and then you won, all the matches leading up to the final, and you avoided true disaster by winning the penalty kick shootout against Costa Rica, which would have knocked you out before even the semis. You can't say they took a massive step back, but they are clearly right now not the class of North American soccer.4mexico is, and that's North America, with respect, is, at best, the 4th strongest continent for soccer, and you're the 2nd best team on it. So to me, all that's a little problematic heading into World Cup next year.
So I had 3 questions out of it. One was the same thing that you were talking about. How far away are we? Because we were in the Gold Cup final. It was 2-1, but when you watch the game, I would describe it like this. We scored a goal, then Mexico held on to the ball for the entire game. We'd get the ball for about 10 seconds and then give it back to them. Yep. So we never felt like we had any real momentum. 2, are we 100% positive that Pochettino is a good coach? We're kind of too far down the road to make a change, but this was a tweet from James Knowlton. Since Pooch took over, we've played 5 games against teams in the top 30 of FIFA's rankings. We've lost all 5.
That's not great.
It is what it is. We've never had our full roster, so that's fine. The third question is Pulisic the difference maker? Are we just at a roster disadvantage? If Weah comes back, McKinney comes back, does that game go differently? Again,
I think that game could go differently, but I think the problem is Mexico is not who you're going to be competing with in 2026 at the World Cup. I mean, yes, in theory you could be competing against them, but Mexico is not a world-class team. Mexico is a, top 20, closer to 20 than to 15 team in the world. And if you want to do what, the United States goal at every World Cup is to make the knockout round, win a game, which they've done really once in my adult life. Yeah. And, to try to make it to at least the final 16 and then really...
We're like Marquette.
Yeah,
let's get in there and make some noise.
And see if you can make an Elite Eight. See if you can make a quarterfinal at the World Cup. In those games, you are going to be playing teams far better than Mexico. And so I understand they didn't have the... And I don't want to... Listen, I'm super excited for this, and I do think it was important that the U.S. stemmed the negative momentum going into the Gold Cup by the 5-0 victory in the opening round of group play, by winning 5 straight games, no draws, just 5 straight wins in group play and in the knockout round. But, man, yesterday was a bummer because the other thing is Mexico now has won 6 of the last 8 they've played against the U.S. They've won back-to-back Gold Cups now when it had been alternating us, Mexico. And I think the total Gold Cups now are 10 Mexico, 7 U.S. And so they just really have taken a stranglehold on this tournament in a way that I would have hoped Team USA was not going to allow them to do.
Wanted to get your reaction to the controversial non-handball here. So here it was. He falls down on the ball, puts his hand on it. Now, this is officially, by CONCACAF rules, not a handball, so it was judged correctly. People were fired up because the guy touched the ball with his hand in the box. Your reaction?
So my reaction is more about what Pochettino is saying, which is another thing that I think is interesting going into the World Cup in U.S. Obviously, Mexico and Canada also have games, but the United States has vast majority of sites and games being played in the U.S. This game was played in Houston, and it was a road game.
Yep.
Like now, listen, I've lived in Houston. I understand Houston is a great soccer city, and obviously, Houston geographically and just demographically has a lot more Mexican Americans than Kansas City, where I'm from, which will host some games. So that I'm sure played a part of it. But it's also, are American soccer fans going to give us any form of home field advantage in the World Cup?
So he complained about that too.
I know, and I think when he was saying, in the other end, it would have been a handball. To me, I thought what he was saying is the referee was intimidated by the crowd, and he was saying in the other end,
you didn't think it was like a bias against the United States?
I think I thought he was saying that the crowd got to the ref, and because of that, what would have been a penalty on the U.S. wasn't on Mexico. But my point is that game should be a home game. It should be a home game for the U.S. And so that's another thing that, again, it's not like the sky is falling, but it's also not the sunniest day imaginable for Team USA Soccer. They prevented the sky from falling by making the Gold Cup final, which I think was mandatory. The fact that they didn't play their best, I chalk it up maybe to the guys not being there and those other things, but they need to be better. And there's not a lot of time. That's the last non-friendly they'll play until the World Cup.
All right, we need Pulisic, basically.
Yeah.
I started to actually get a little bit more upset.
About Pulisic not being there?
Yeah, and I understand Club World Cup, we can't have everybody there, but I started to get into it. I'm like, this isn't our best team.
But also the kid from Mexico, I shouldn't say kid, the guy from Mexico, the defender who scored their first goal, he plays for West Ham. And he, played a full season with West Ham and then came and played this. So, his workload's the same as Pulisic's. He decided to go play.
Turning our attention to the NBA, LeBron opts into his $52 million player option, so he's definitely going to be with the Lakers, right? Not so fast. Here's Rich Paul's statement. LeBron wants to compete for a championship. Okay. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. He wants to make every season he has left count, and the Lakers understand that, are supportive, and want what's best for him. Very interesting. What does this mean for LeBron? Well,
listen, I think obviously the door is ajar to LeBron playing somewhere other than the Lakers to finish his career. But so much of the conversation surrounding LeBron this last week, I did consume some of it while on vacation, was to me maddening but also idiotic. So can I go through? All right, so first of all is this idea of, well, if he wanted to win, the biggest impediment to the Lakers winning is the fact that LeBron James makes $52 million. LeBron James at $52 million is the 13th highest paid player in the league. Is LeBron James better than the 13th best player in the league? I would say so. Last year, LeBron James finished 6th in MVP voting. He got the 6th most first-team All-NBA votes. So if you're not Shea, Joker, Giannis, Tatum, or Donovan Mitchell, last year, according to the NBA MVP and All-NBA voters, you had a worse season than LeBron James. So $52 million, which is a little bit less than Karl Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, and a little bit more than Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Zach LaVine, feels to me like a bargain. The other part of the money on the LeBron is, well, he could have helped the Lakers. No, he couldn't have. If LeBron would have gone from $52 million to $10 million, the Lakers add $3 million in cap space.
How does that work?
Because they're more than $35 million over the cap. So they don't, you know what I mean? So if he would have gone from $52 million to the league minimum, it would have opened around $10 million of cap space.
Got it.
Which is, in a world where Terrence Mann makes $15 million, that's not getting you great players, right? And so there's that piece of it. Then there is just I think I got so frustrated because it was like, wait, LeBron James might be available. And the conversation seemed to be like, well, yeah, but would you want him? Can we all agree LeBron James is still better than Kevin Durant? He certainly was last year. He certainly has been every day they've both been alive. He's been better. Wow. Kevin Durant, every single day of LeBron's basketball life, as great as Durant is, he's been a better player than Kevin Durant, including last season. Healthier, more available, contributed to winning more. All of it. We just watched Kevin Durant get traded for the leading scorer on the 2 seed, even though I don't love the player, valuable defensive player in Dylan Brooks, and Malawach. And everyone's like, what a great job by Houston, myself included. Everyone's like, oh, man, they can win the title now. Last year LeBron, again, according to the voters, according to team record, according to numbers, was better than Steph Curry. Steph was 24, and his team was 24 and 25 when they traded for Jimmy Butler. If Steph Curry were potentially available, it would feel like the conversation would be like, every team would want him. This guy might be available. Is it for long term? No. Is Kevin Durant for long term? Would Steph be for long term? No. I don't understand why the conversation didn't immediately become, what should the Warriors or the Knicks do to get LeBron James? Because both of them, if LeBron wanted to go there, I think could get him. And both, if LeBron wanted to go there, the teams would make sense. So all of this to me it's baffling the way it was discussed, given the fact that we just watched a year where LeBron James was second-team All-NBA and sixth in the MVP voting. And in a playoff series where he was the best player on the Lakers on both ends of the court, offense and defense. And so I don't follow where the discussion went.
Okay, a few things. One, I like the idea of you just on a boat in Hawaii just getting fired up.
I got so angry.
Random tweets. Random tweets from
podcasts, mostly podcasts.
Bulls fans are like, I don't know if we want LeBron.
You're like, tweets are not what it was. I'm walking the beach listening to podcasts, and I'm like, you're an idiot. That's dumb. That doesn't make sense, but go ahead.
No, did you have like a legacy-defining move? Because the Athletic had 5 teams, Knicks, Cavs, Warriors, Clippers. I'm trying to think of maybe the Mavs. I don't know if
I think the Mavs were one.
Knicks, Cavs, Warriors, Clippers, Mavs, I think.
I think there's 2 that would make sense. One more than the other. The Warriors one is just simple. It's just Jimmy Butler for LeBron James.
I love that.
And I know the Lakers evidently desperately want to hold on to their 2027 cap space, which again is 2 years from now, and you have Luka Doncic on your team.
Why do they need that now if they have a rich owner?
The cap space you need no matter how wealthy your owner is. Yeah. But it's just, to me, that's an excuse for not being diligent in the offseason. That's fine. But if you trade for Jimmy Butler, you still would have the 2027 cap space because he has 2 years left on his deal. Some would argue Jimmy fits better with Luka than LeBron does. I wouldn't be one of those people. But if LeBron wants to leave, that would be legitimate return. And again, I'm a man on an island, I guess, because I remember watching last basketball season. But LeBron's better than Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. And I don't think that's an argument.
And the other one is, I think, more interesting and maybe more realistic, and it's LeBron for Karl Anthony Towns.
So I like that.
And the Lakers get much younger. You don't get a defensive center, but you get a stretch 5, and it's something that I think is interesting for them at least to evaluate over the next couple of years before Towns is player option. And for the Knicks, I think that team oddly gets better defensively because Mitchell Robinson takes Towns' minutes, and LeBron is, as he showed last year, if Brunson's going to have the ball, he can be a more impactful defender when he's not having to do all of the offense. Mm-hmm. It would be an unbelievable capstone to this career, and they are already the favorites in the East. And again, maybe I'm a man on an island. I think even at 41 years old, LeBron James is better than Karl Anthony Towns. And he was last year. And so those to me are the 2 that make sense, and you feel like they would have a real chance of winning a championship.
All right, so I'll ask you 2 questions off of this, because I went like, what's the legacy-defining move? If he wins a championship, I think his legacy is great regardless, right? If he goes to the Hornets and they win a championship.
Or if he stays in L.A.
It doesn't matter, right? If you come up short, which is more likely, right, what do I want to see? What would be better for his legacy? To go to New York and like give it a run, or to like team up with Steph? I view those two as the more fun things. Team up with Steph, I kind of lean towards Golden State. Just maybe it's a little bit of like the Olympic hangover in me of like watching the two older guys get it done, rivals kind of joining together. I would be partial to Golden State.
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Storyline-wise, I would also be partial to Golden State. For LeBron James and any great player active right now, I would be partial to the Eastern Conference. And I would if the goal is, let me see if I can make another finals with as much left in the tank as possible for those finals. Almost any team, in the East is a safer bet unless you were going to go to like OKC or Houston in the West. And again, I don't think that the Lakers are drawing dead as presently constituted, but I think that they are greatly flawed. And I think that the Lakers still operating as if they didn't trade for Luka Doncic is really fascinating to me. The Lakers, the last couple years, they have been operating looking to the future because, listen, LeBron's era is ending, whatever. But the future, once you have Luka, the future is now. Every year you should be trying to win a championship. Every year you should be trying to maximize this moment. And you also should be trying to impress Luka Doncic so he signs an extension with you, which has not happened yet. And so all of that to me is fascinating. But I've never been that impressed by the people running the Lakers.
Well, we've got new people now.
Not yet, though. We have new people coming in, but not yet.
Although many people came around erroneously to my Jackson Hayes enthusiasm, it looks like he's not the long-term answer at center. Lakers signing former Blazers center DeAndre Ayton, who Portland bought out after he averaged 14 and 10 last year. Do you like Ayton's fit with L.A.?
He's better than your guy Jackson Hayes.
He was my guy, but then you started to
he never became my guy.
You were like, this guy can play.
Listen, I've never liked DeAndre Ayton as a player. I'm just fine. I don't know him, but I don't know if you even remember, but when that Suns team was making its run to the finals and we were doing our shows from our houses in boxes, I did not believe in DeAndre Ayton. I said that I thought his 15 and 11 was, a lot of smoke and mirrors associated with it. I think the fact that the Blazers acquired him and then immediately went into the let's acquire other centers business so we can buy him out is concerning. The Blazers are trying to win, oddly. I don't know if it's smart, but what they're
done kind of tanking.
Right.
Chauncey wants to win.
Right. Chauncey wants to win. You trade for Drew Holiday. You trade up to, or however they got Yang, the Chinese center. I don't remember if they traded up or what I think they traded up. But regardless, you drafted Klingon. They are trying to win, and they told DeAndre Ayton to go away. Do I think he could be a decent lob threat with Luka? Sure. Do I think that he's going to be a defensive anchor, KW? No. And so that's a concern as well.
All right, so good news, bad news. Here's the alley-oop graphic. We're on the same page here. Most alley-oops thrown since Luka entered the NBA. Trey loves throwing it up there. Luka's 2, Harden is 3. So Luka will love that. So those are easy points for DeAndre Ayton. Here's the bad news. Rookie year, DeAndre Ayton. Number 1 pick.
Over Luka.
Oh, I forgot about that. 16-10 in a block. Last year, 14-10 in a block. So you're still not getting anywhere. And here's the quote panel from The Athletic. These kind of popped up, remember, in Phoenix, so this isn't good. In the end, they couldn't live with his bad ways. The tardiness to team flights and practices, according to a source, skipping rehab appointments, fans saw him slam chairs, taken out of games, and a team source said there were tantrums in the locker room when he was sidelined for poor efforts. So
he never seemed to as mature.
Yeah, so glass half full, being around LeBron, Luka. I know we joke around about it, but JJ has kind of inspired Luka.
And Luka is a relentless competitor.
Yeah,
nobody doubts how much Luka wants to win.
But just also the hot dog eating contest.
This guy is unbelievable. But
he's locked in more on the offseason.
In theory, yes, I'll have to see it. I know some people thought that I would change my tune on DeAndre Ayton because he's a Laker now. My tune has stayed the same on this player since the day he was drafted. When I said him going over Luka, I thought was insane. I think the fact that the team that took him #1 overall wasn't even in love with him. Remember, they were thinking about letting him leave, and they matched the Indiana Pacers offer, and then Portland bought him out. Like, he hasn't grown into the NBA player he's supposed to be.
But can you have that attitude? I mean, Chauncey was the coach, obviously, but the players have their own environment. Maybe DeAndre Ayton can be that guy in Portland. They're like, this doesn't work. I don't think you can be like that with LeBron in the locker room.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think that will fly, but then maybe there's another buyout coming.